If you're trying to decide between North Carolina and South Carolina, here are 7 things you need to know before you pick a side, because 2 or 3 of these are going to matter a lot more than what you'd expect. Hey, I'm Daniel Morabel, and I'm actually licensed as a real estate agent and broker in North Carolina and South Carolina. So this comparison isn't theoretical for me. I work across this exact border every week, helping people who are trying to decide which side of the state line actually makes sense for them. This isn't going to be one of those videos that picks a winner in the first 30 seconds and spends the rest of the time justifying it. Both of these states are genuinely good options. And by the end of this video, you're going to know exactly which one fits your situation, not mine. So if you're watching this on your phone, your TV tonight, or your computer on a break, stick around for number 4. It's the one that surprises almost everyone. So without further ado, let's get into it. All right, so number 1, everyone assumes one of these states is just the low tax one. It's not that simple, and I want to walk you through why. According to the Tax Foundation, North Carolina's flat tax income rate actually dropped to about 3.99%, and it's the same rate no matter what you earn. South Carolina worked a little bit different. It uses a sliding scale that climbs up to 6.2% starting this July, but here's the part people misunderstand. The top rate only applies to your income above a certain amount, not your whole paycheck. Think of it like filling up buckets. Your first bucket of income gets taxed at a lower rate, and only the money that spills over into the highest bucket gets taxed at the 6.2%. Here's how that actually plays out for you. For most middle and higher income earners, North Carolina's flat rate usually comes out a little lower overall, but South Carolina offers something North Carolina doesn't, a retirement income deduction of up to $15,000 per person, which can meaningfully close that gap if you're living off a pension or a 401k rather than a paycheck. Now, property taxes flips that picture again. According to the Tax Foundation, North Carolina's average effective property tax rate runs around 0.8%. South Carolina's runs closer to 0.56%. Partially because South Carolina assesses owner-occupied homes at 4% of the value, not the full market price. So here's the honest answer. If you're a working professional with a normal paycheck, North Carolina usually wins. If you're retired and living off a pension or investment income, South Carolina usually wins. There isn't one correct answer here. There's only the answer that's correct for your specific situation. Let me put that into real numbers on that for you for a second. On a $400,000 home, North Carolina's property tax runs you somewhere around $3,200 a year. That same home in South Carolina, assessed at the lower 4% owner-occupied rate, often lands closer to $2,200 a year. That's not a small difference if you're on a fixed retirement income. Now, sales tax is closer enough and it's almost a non-factor. North Carolina averages around 6.98 and South Carolina runs slightly higher around 7.44. Worth knowing, not worth basing your whole decision on. That's the tax picture. Number 2 is about whether you can actually replace your income once you get here. So number 2, the job markets in these 2 states are not really competing with each other. They're built for different kinds of careers. So for example, North Carolina's economy leans into diversification. Things like technology, finances are in Charlotte. Biotech and research is around Raleigh and Durham, which has kept the state's overall economic growth running ahead of the national average into this year. Now, South Carolina leans differently. The Port of Charleston is one of the busiest of the entire East Coast of the country, which drives serious logistics, warehousing, and distribution employment. And Greenville has built a real manufacturing and advanced industry base of its own. So how does that affect you? If your career is in banking, finance, tech, or corporate professional services, North Carolina, especially Charlotte and the Research Triangle, is going to give you more room to move between employers without leaving the state. If you're in logistics, manufacturing, or hospitality, South Carolina's coastal and upstate markets hold their own just fine. Now, one thing worth being honest about. For professionals moving between sectors within the same state, South Carolina simply offers less internal mobility. than North Carolina because the number of large metros and the range of industries is smaller. That's not a knock on South Carolina, it's just the trade-off that comes with a smaller, more specialized economy. If your industry has a strong presence there, you're fine. If you want the flexibility to change careers or employers without relocating again, North Carolina gives you a little bit more runway. So we've covered the paycheck. Number 3 is about something that affects both states equally right now. Number 3. This is one genuinely remarkable if you haven't seen the numbers. According to census data reported through Charlotte Observer this past March, North Carolina and South Carolina together posted the highest statewide population growth rates in the entire country last year. The Charlotte metro area alone, which spans both states, now sits around 2.8 million people, placing it among the nation's top 5 metro areas for local economic growth. Now, meanwhile, in South Carolina, Myrtle Beach and Spartanburg both landed among the 10 fastest growing metro areas in the country by percentage. So what does that mean for you? It means you're not choosing between a growing state and a stagnant one. You're choosing between 2 different flavors of the same boom. Now, North Carolina's growth concentrated around bigger and more diverse metros. South Carolina's growth spreads across coastal and smaller upstate markets. Both come with the same trade-off. More people moving in means more competition for the homes you're looking for in either state. Growth in this region isn't concentrated in just one city anymore. More than 24,000 people relocated into Charlotte Metro from other parts of the country, and that migration is spreading into the mid-sized counties surrounding Charlotte, not just the city itself. So that's exactly why towns you may not have heard of yet, places just outside the main metro on both sides of the state line, are worth a look before prices there catch up to what Charlotte and Fort Mill already have caught up to in terms of cost. That's the growth story. Number 4 is the one I told you about at the start, and it's the one that actually changes how you should be thinking about this whole comparison. So number 4, and this is the one I promised you at the top of the hour, most people assume North Carolina and South Carolina feel basically identical once you cross the border, but honestly they don't. And the difference isn't even about the coast. If you're in Charlotte, you're in the Piedmont, rolling hills, 4 real seasons, and a climate that genuinely surprises people who assume the whole South feels the same all year round. Cross into upstate South Carolina around Greenville, and you're closer to the Blue Ridge Parkway than Charlotte is in some spots, and with noticeably different pace and walkable downtown built right along the Reedy River. Now, head towards the South Carolina coast instead, places like Myrtle Beach and Charleston, and you're in an entirely different climate zone. Warmer winters, more humidity, but there's also hurricane exposure that inland Charlotte and the Piedmont simply don't carry the same way. So what does that mean for you? South Carolina isn't one climate or one lifestyle anymore than North Carolina is. The real comparison people should be making isn't the state versus state, it's region versus region, like Charlotte versus Charleston, Raleigh versus Greenville, mountain versus the coast. Picking a state without picking a region first is how people end up disappointed 6 months after moving. That's a geography lesson. Number 5 is a topic most relocation videos avoid entirely because it doesn't make either state look really that great. Number 5, and I'll give you what most relocation content creators skip, which is North Carolina expanded Medicare back in December 2023, and it's still active today, expanding coverage to adults who didn't previously qualify. South Carolina has not expanded Medicare, and there's no active legislation moving to that change. North Carolina genuinely has a wider safety net right now than South Carolina does. That's not a small thing if a health event is part of why you're moving here in the first place. So where the states even out again is specifically care access. North Carolina is home to major academic medical systems like Duke University Medical Center, UNC Health, Wake Forest Baptist, all within driving distance of the Triangle and Charlotte. South Carolina's academic medical presence is smaller by comparison, centered mostly around MUSC in Charleston. So what does that mean for you? if ongoing specialty medical care is part of your planning, particularly for a chronic condition or aging family member, North Carolina's Piedmont or Triangle regions give you more concentrated access to major health systems without needing to travel far. If you're along the South Carolina coast or in the upstate, you're not without good care. You're just more likely to be referred up to Charlotte or over to Charleston for anything highly specialized. So factor that drive time into your decision the same way you'd factor a commute to work. The next section brings us to the dollars and cents, the number people actually feel every single month. So number 6, let's talk about the actual monthly cost of living, not just taxes. According to cost of living data compiled this year, South Carolina runs about 8.7% cheaper overall than North Carolina, with rental costs running roughly 12.5% lower statewide. But here's the number that actually matters more. Census Bureau data puts North Carolina's median household income at around $72,000, compared to about $69,000 in South Carolina. So North Carolina typically has a bigger paycheck that runs higher, just not by nearly as much as the cost of living gap would suggest. So what does that mean for you? A lower cost of living doesn't automatically mean more money in your pocket if your income drops by a smaller amount to get there. Run your own numbers, not the state average. So here's a simple way to think about it. If your paycheck stays exactly the same no matter where you live, because you're remote, retired, or self-employed, with clients elsewhere, the lower cost of living state wins outright. No real debate. If your paycheck is tied to the local job market, you need to compare the actual salary data for your specific role in each city you're considering, not just statewide averages I just gave you. That's the day-to-day cost picture. Now, number 7 is where I stop giving you data and actually tell you what I do in your shoes. All right, so number 7, and this is where I actually give you my take, not just hand you numbers and walk away. If what you want is the strongest job market, the most diverse economy, and you don't mind slightly higher income taxes for it, North Carolina, especially the Charlotte and Raleigh corridor, is the stronger overall pick for working professionals. If what you want is a lower cost of living, easier beach access, lower property taxes, and you're retired, or your income travels with you, regardless of location, South Carolina holds up extremely well. And that retirement income deduction alone can be a meaningful number over a decade. And if you're anywhere near this border, the way I am, Fort Mill, Rock Hill, York, and Indian Land, you generally don't have to choose at all. You can live in South Carolina for the property tax advantage and still work 15 minutes into Charlotte for that paycheck. That border isn't a wall for a lot of my clients, and it's actually the best of both worlds. If you want to run your own numbers comparing your specific situation across both states, that's exactly what I help people do every single week, whether you're a year out from moving or already packing boxes. And if you don't have a lender yet, I can also connect you with one I trust free of charge. And like always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.